Hi, this is Jeff Haynes with My Two Common Sense. A few days ago I made a meme for Facebook about the Apple iPhone controversy. And it was basically an Apple logo. In fact, here it is. I'll show it to you. And it's just basically saying that Apple's right, we should support Apple. Well, you know, being the right-wing nut that I am, I post a lot of conservative stuff online and or on Facebook, and you know, I usually don't get much of a response. Once in a while, you know, a like or you know, what the heck you talking about or that kind of stuff. But this really started like a little online controversy debate with people right down, you know, yeah, one side said, yeah, we shouldn't hack it, and the other side said that you're a traitor if you don't make them hack it. So I'm just going to give you my 2 cents on the whole issue and why I don't believe that Apple should be forced to hack the phone. First of all, I don't have an axe to grind about Apple. I don't even know who the current CEO is of Apple. He may be a total leftist puke. He may be sympathetic to Islam and radical Islam. I don't know. It has nothing to do with politics with me. That's not the point of why I don't think they should be forced to hack the phone. So I'm not in love with Apple. I had a bad experience with them. Years ago, I bought my daughter one of the MP3 players. I don't even remember what it was called now. That still had the hard drive, and it was the first one that had the wheel on it. And it worked for a few weeks, then it stopped working. We called Apple, and they said, well, we can send you a reconditioned one. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. I just bought a brand new one. I don't want a reconditioned one. And we went back and forth. That's all they would do was send us a reconditioned one. I asked them if they would even repair the one we had. They said, no, we can't do that. So to make a long story short, after 3 or 4 reconditioned ones, we just gave up. They just kept doing the same thing. We even asked them if they could send us the previous model, because that had a good reputation for being reliable, and they wouldn't do that either. So I was at the time even thinking about buying an Apple computer, and I was just so teed off by the whole thing that I didn't. To this day, I'm using my Sony VO, and it just didn't. I'm pretty computer savvy. I mean, I use PowerPoint. I, know how to use a lot of different programs on my computer, but I'm not a computer expert. Just to give you an idea, here's my phone. Got it free from Walmart Smart Talk. It's $30 a month. That's what I use for my phone, just to give you an idea. Here's what I use for the auxiliary on my car stereo, so I can listen to Mark Levin when I'm driving around. It's my 128 meg Kobe MP3 player, which my previous one got washed in my pants pocket and destroyed after 10 years of use. So I had to go on eBay and find a new one. So here's my Kobe player. Here's my computer that I use. This is my only access to the internet since I don't have a smartphone. Let me make sure this is right here, my VO Sony laptop. Just for the heck of it, I Googled the model number for this on Google, and all the responses came back and said it's an obsolete piece of crap. That's what I use, Microsoft Vista. And so I don't have an axe to grind about Apple or anything like that. That's got nothing to do with that. Just let me give you my understanding, and not being a computer expert, on what's actually going on. If you have an iPhone, it's password protected. All right? You get 5 chances to put the right password in. If you get it wrong, it tells you it's wrong, you can put it in again. Once you get past the 5th try, there's a delay, like 15 minutes or something. And if you keep getting it wrong, that delay gets more and more and more until the time when you get up to the 9th try. If you still have it wrong, it makes you wait an hour. Then after that hour, if you try a 10th time and you get it wrong, then that's bad news, because the phone erases all your information on the phone and you still can't get into it. So that's what the FBI is up against. is trying to get into this phone, and if they mess up too much, all the information that they're trying to get could be erased. Right now, the iPhone is not hackable. You can't get into it. Not even Apple can get into it. So, people are like, well, why don't just Apple just get into the phone, give them the information, and, would be no problem then. Well, that's because Apple can't even get into it. I read one article online that says it would take them about 4 weeks with a team of their best to be able to write the software to give them the back door to get into the phone. All right. So not even Apple can just nonchalantly just get into the phone. Right now, you can't hack into the phone. Once Apple hacks into it, then it's hacked. And that's not going to stay secret for long. I mean, kind of like Pandora's box, once she opened up the box and all the demons and evil spirits and stuff got out of it, you can't shove them back in. And that's the situation we would have. There would be millions of phones open to hackers. Literally millions of phones. And if we ever have a terrorist attack happen to where the terrorist used a Microsoft-based phone, a judge could order Microsoft to write a program to hack into their phones. So that would be millions of more phones that would be opened up to be hacked. It's not a good idea. People's entire lives are on their phones now. All their bank information, their credit card information, their address. I mean, every time you take a picture, unless you turn the feature off, it puts the GPS coordinates where the picture was taken. If I had a smartphone, I wouldn't want somebody to be able to get that information on me. I just wouldn't want it to happen. I got to ask the question, do radical Islamists have hackers? And I think the answer to that would be yes. Does the president have an iPhone or a Microsoft-based phone? Do members of Congress, do police departments, do the military? All these phones would be opened up to be hacked, where right now they're secure. And why would we do that? So that we could get into one phone to find out information about 2 dead terrorists. It just doesn't make any sense. And don't tell me that the information would be safe with the government. It's like, does anyone read the newspapers? Or I don't read newspapers anymore, but does anyone read online about how the IRS was just recently hacked into, and they think that up to 700,000 people's names and social security numbers were stolen? And they're sending out letters now warning people, the ones that were stolen. Companies get hacked into. I had the unfortunate experience 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when Target system got hacked into on Black Friday? And I had to cancel my debit card, and I had to get a new debit card. Things get hacked into. Causes major problems. The iPhone is not hackable right now. Why make it hackable for this? It just doesn't make any sense. And then you hear the argument, well, if you have nothing to hide, you really shouldn't care if people get in, if the government can get into your phone. You know what? I don't have anything to hide, but I don't need the government looking at my personal stuff either. I mean, there's a lot of things I do behind closed doors, like get dressed, go to the bathroom, watch television, argue with my wife, just daily things that I don't want to do out in public. It's none of the government's business. So, no, maybe I don't have anything to hide, but I don't need them. This isn't 1984. This isn't Big Brother. I don't need them knowing everything about me. I'm sorry, I just don't. It's just none of the government's business. If you want to fight Islam, why don't you start by not letting in hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees? If you figure that 1% is radicalized, and I read a thing online that said that, how much was it, 3 or 4% are radicalized, but just say it's 1%. That'd be 1,000 people for every 100,000 people. Say it's 0.5%, that'd be 500. Say it's 0.25%, that would be 250. Do we really just want to knowingly let these people into our country? Why doesn't the government fight terrorism there? Why doesn't the government go around and shut down all these scores of radical mosques that we know exist in the country that are teaching terrorism, that are teaching radicalism. Why don't we stop that? You know, Trump suggested that we should temporarily halt the Syrian refugees, and look at everyone was having a fit. You know, Paul Ryan, you know, Rhino Deluxe. Oh, well, that's not what Americans do. Yeah, he didn't say to permanently stop them. He said to temporarily stop them until we figure out a way to vet them to make sure that we're not letting radicals in the country. Why don't we fight terrorism there instead of worrying about the information that's on two dead terrorists' phones? Yeah, maybe they would get some information about the networks and who else was involved in it and stuff. Maybe they would. You know what? Maybe they wouldn't, at the cost of making millions of phones around the world hackable. It's just not worth it. It's got nothing to do with being a traitor. I love this country more than anything. I hate my government, but I love this country more than anything. It has nothing to do with being a traitor. It just has to do with common sense and security. Do you want to blow national security? Make it so that terrorists can hack into iPhones. Give them that opportunity and see how secure we are. It makes us less secure. Let's fight Islam. Let's use some common sense, and let's put this thing to rest and stand up for Apple. Because you know what? Whether you like it or not, Apple is right this time. They are right. This is Jeff Haynes with My Two Common Sense.